The 71st session of the United Nations General Assembly commenced yesterday at the UN headquarters in New York. News First, Shami Razuldeen reports.
Yesterday was the opening day of the 71st sessions of the United Nations General Assembly. Over 130 plus heads of states are in New York to attend the global sessions, including President Sirisena. In his final speech to the United Nations, outgoing Secretary General Ban Ki-moon attacked leaders who continue to feed the war machine, saying the bar of depravity has continued to sink lower.
Powerful patrons that keep feeding the war machine also have blood on their hands. Present in this hall today are representatives of governments that have ignored, facilitated, funded, participated in, or even planned and carried out atrocities inflicted by all sides of Syrian conflict against Syrian civilians.
The Secretary General in his speech also made reference to Sri Lanka.
In Myanmar, the transition has entered a promising new phase. In Sri Lanka, post-war healing efforts have deepened. In both the countries, the true reconciliation rests on ensuring that all communities, minorities and majorities alike are included in building a real union.
Meanwhile, during the day, the President held several bilateral talks. He first met the Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull at the UN headquarters. The President appreciated the assistance given by Australia to Sri Lanka for the country's development drive, and the Australian Prime Minister had extended his gratitude to the President for the cooperation extended towards Australia to tackle the growing human smuggling issue. Furthermore, the President also met the Indian State Minister of External Affairs M.J. Akbar. During the meeting, the President expressed his condolences on behalf of the government and the people of Sri Lanka over the recent violence in Kashmir. President Sirisena had said that situations of this nature should be dealt with patience, and the dialogue is the only way to find a solution. The Indian minister had meanwhile expressed regret over the commencement of certain Indian-funded projects in Sri Lanka, and President Sirisena had said that he will examine the progress of the projects in question. The fishermen problem plaguing both India and Sri Lanka also came up for discussion. President Sirisena also met Chief Executive of the United States Millennium Challenge Corporation, Dana J. Haid. The MCC has selected Sri Lanka for its threshold program, under which assistance will be provided for selected projects. Subsequent to top-level bilateral meetings, President took a brief moment to speak to the Sri Lankan media, now stationed in New York, to cover the UNGA.
එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ මහලේකම් බෑන් කි-මූන් මැතිතුමා මොකද පහුගිය දිනවල ලංකාවට ඇවිල්ලා ගියේ.
Recently, the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon visited Sri Lanka, and he was pleased to meet me again and added that the UN will continue to laud the activities related to Sri Lanka. I called on US President Barack Obama and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. President Obama said there is a positive transformation in Sri Lanka and that it is an example to the world, adding that the Sri Lankan government will be supported at any given time.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා රජයට දෙන්න පුළුවන් සෑම සහයෝගයක්ම ලබා දෙන බව ප්‍රකාශ කළා.
The President also gave a brief hint on what his speech at the 71st sessions of the UNGA would entail tomorrow.
ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් ජාත්‍යන්තර හොඳ හිතා ගැනීමක් දැනට ලංකාවේ සිදුවන
I hope to call for assistance in the development of the country and to overcome the economic issue at a time when there is transformation taking place in the country, as well as to strengthen reconciliation in the country. I also hope to speak on drugs. This morning, the head of Brussels also spoke on drugs, and his sentiments are also echoed in my speech. It is clear that illegal drugs have become a serious issue to most of the nations. In my speech tomorrow, I hope to make a proposal for an international initiative led by the United Nations in dealing with this issue through a special program.
විශේෂ වැඩපිළිවෙලක් සම්බන්ධයෙන් මගේ අදහස් යෝජනාවක් වශයෙන් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න.
Today is day 2 of the 71st session of the United Nations General Assembly. President Sirisena is to address the session tomorrow at 1:30 a.m. Sri Lankan time. He is expected to speak at 3:45 p.m. here in New York on Wednesday. This is the second time in which President Sirisena is addressing the UN sessions in his capacity as the president of the country. He is expected to highlight the commitments he made to the international community last year at the UN General Assembly and the progress he has made since taking over office on the 8th of January 2015. The international community will be opening their eyes and listening to the president speaking, as this is a very decisive time for a country like Sri Lanka. Tomorrow is going to be an important day for Sri Lanka due to the speech that would be made by President Sirisena during his visit. So far, he has met several high-ranking officials of the United States government, including John Kerry as well as Barack Obama. He also was hosted for lunch by UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon yesterday. Now, News First, of course, will keep our viewers fully up to date on all the developments that will unfold from the UN headquarters in New York. I'm Shamir Rasuldin reporting for News First from the UN headquarters in New York, USA.